With the first pick in the 2013 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Anthony Bennett of Toronto, Canada, and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
June 27th, 2013 is a night that live sports television will never forget. When David Stern called out the name Anthony Bennett, it didn't just shock the fans inside the Barclays Center. It shocked the media, it shocked draft analysts, it shocked the Cleveland Cavaliers' own locker room, and most importantly, it shocked Anthony Bennett himself. In sports culture, the label #1 overall pick comes with a legendary status. It carries the weight of expectations set by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. You are expected to be a franchise savior. You are expected to carry an organization on your back. Anthony Bennett was never supposed to carry that weight. He was a 20-year-old kid coming off shoulder surgery who most scouts had ranked somewhere between 5th and 8th in a weird, volatile draft class. Yet within 4 short years, Bennett was completely out of the NBA. He became the first #1 overall pick in league history to be sent down to the G League. He averaged only 4.4 points per game for his entire career. He played for 4 teams in 4 seasons, and he earned the undisputed title of the biggest bust in basketball history. But calling Anthony Bennett a bust and leaving it just at that is kind of lazy. It ignores the administrative failures of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the tragic timing of his injuries, and the psychological burden of being thrust into a spot he never really asked for, and the bizarre nature of the 2013 draft class. In this video, I'm going to be telling the entire unfiltered story of Anthony Bennett. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more daily NBA content, because these videos do take hours and hours to produce. But other than that, let's get into the video. To understand why Cleveland made this fateful decision, we have to erase what we already know about his NBA career and look strictly at a 19-year-old Anthony Bennett playing at UNLV. Anthony Bennett wasn't some unathletic schlub who got lucky. In 2012, Bennett was a physically gifted prospect, standing 6'8", weighing 240 pounds, and boasting a massive 7'2" wingspan. Bennett possessed a frame that looked tailor-made for the modern NBA. In his lone season under coach Dave Rice at UNLV, Bennett was an absolute wrecking ball. He put up 16.1 points per game, which led the team in scoring in just 27.1 minutes. He had 8.1 rebounds per game as well. He was an elite defensive glass cleaner who had 21.8% of the defensive rebounds. He shot 53.3% from the field and 37.5% from 3. He is a modern stretch 4 shooting profile, and his player efficiency rating was a 28.3, which is one of the highest freshman PERs in the country. If you look at the film from early 2013, in an era where the NBA was just beginning its transition towards small ball power forwards, which was inspired by Chris Bosh in Miami and Carmelo Anthony in New York, Bennett looked like the prototype. He had the raw strength to finish around contact around the rim, elite efficiency as a transition finisher, and a soft, fluid stroke from the college three-point line. He could catch the ball on the perimeter, rip through, take 2 hard dribbles, and tear the rim down. Draft analyst Jonathan Tjarks famously wrote prior to the draft that Bennett possessed the highest offensive ceiling of anyone in the class. In one-on-one workouts, when healthy, Bennett looked unguardable. So what changed? Really, the rotator cuff. Midway through his freshman season, Bennett suffered a torn rotator cuff in his shoulder. He played through the pain, but his minutes were slashed, and more importantly, that shoulder injury meant that immediately after UNLV's season ended, Bennett required major surgery. He could not shoot a basketball, he couldn't lift weights, and he couldn't run conditioning drills or even participate in private team workouts for 4 straight months leading up to the 2013 NBA draft. Now let's step into the Cleveland Cavaliers war room in June 2013. The 2013 NBA draft is widely considered by scouts to be one of the most unpredictable, chaotic, and structurally weak draft classes in modern history. There was no Anthony Davis, there was no Zion Williamson, there was no Cooper Flagg, there was no obvious consensus number one overall pick. Look at the state of the top candidates leading up to draft night. You had Nerlens Noel out of Kentucky, who was the consensus number one for most of the year, but he tore his ACL in February, and ironically, Cleveland's medical staff was terrified of taking a big man coming off of a major knee surgery. They also had, as another top candidate, they had Alex Len from Maryland, who had a stress fracture in his ankle, and he was wearing a heavy walking boot on draft night. Then you have Victor Oladipo out of Indiana, who is a solid high-floor guard and probably the best player of this draft, but Cleveland already had their young star point guard in Kyrie Irving, and they felt Oladipo's upside was capped as a secondary option. Then you have Otto Porter Jr. and Ben McLemore, who are solid wings, but neither have franchise-altering potential in the workouts. The Cavaliers, who held the number one pick, desperately tried to trade down. They called team after team after team offering to swap picks, but nobody wanted the number one pick in the 2013 draft. Nobody wanted to pay number one pick slot money in a draft when nobody was sold on a star. Stuck with the pick, the Cavaliers' front office was deeply divided. Their analytics department came back with a stunning recommendation. Anthony Bennett had the highest per-minute efficiency rating, the best transition scoring metrics, and the most versatile offensive profile in the entire draft class. Cleveland convinced themselves that Bennett's shoulder injury was temporary, that his weight gain while recovering was manageable, and that he could form a dynamic stretch and slam tandem alongside Kyrie Irving and Tristan Thompson. It was a reach of historic proportions, a swing for the fences on talent by an analytics department that ignored red flags in personality, medical conditioning, and position. What happened next was a tragedy of athletic conditioning, mental pressure, and complete systemic breakdown. Because of his shoulder surgery, Anthony Bennett arrived at Cavaliers training camp severely out of shape. He was carrying an extra 20 to 25 pounds of bad weight. Worse yet, it was later revealed that Bennett suffered from severe sleep apnea and asthma, meaning he was constantly fatigued, he struggled to breathe during high-intensity runs, and he was unable to recover physically. Then came the regular season, and the nightmare began immediately. For his first field goal, it took 5 entire games for him to make a single shot. He went 0 for 16 from the field across 43 minutes. In his first 10 games, he put up 13 total points on 5 for 34 shooting at 14.7% from the field, and his first double-digit game didn't occur until game 33 of the season. Imagine being a 20-year-old kid. Every sports show on earth is calling you the worst draft pick in history before Thanksgiving. Every time you step onto the floor, the home crowd groans. Every time you miss a shot, it becomes a trending topic on social media. Bennett's confidence didn't just drop, it completely vanished. His head coach, Mike Brown, was fighting for his job and trying to push the Cavs into the playoffs. Brown had zero patience for a struggling, out-of-shape rookie who couldn't execute defensive rotations. Bennett was pulled after 2-minute stints. He looked lost, timid, and utterly overwhelmed by the pace and physicality of the NBA. He finished his rookie season playing 52 games, starting 0, and averaging 4.2 points and 2.9 rebounds per game on 35.6% shooting from the field. Think of how crazy that is that a number 1 overall pick started 0 games in his rookie season. It was statistically the worst single rookie season by a number 1 overall pick in the history of the National Basketball Association. In the summer of 2014, LeBron James announced his historic return to Cleveland. Instantly, the Cavaliers shifted it into win-now mode. They packaged Anthony Bennett and the 2014 number 1 overall pick, Andrew Wiggins, in a massive blockbuster trade to Minnesota to acquire superstar Kevin Love. Minnesota was supposed to be a fresh start. No spotlight, no pressure, playing alongside a young core. In Minnesota, Bennett showed brief, fleeting flashes. On November 21st, 2014, he dropped a career-high 20 points against the San Antonio Spurs, showcasing that old UNLV face-up mid-range game. But the consistency was never there. He suffered an ankle injury, lost his spot in the rotation, and he averaged just 5.2 points per game. After just one season, Minnesota took the unprecedented step of buying out his contract, paying him millions just to leave. From there, his career became a sad game of game-to-game survival. In 2015 to 2016, he signed with his hometown team in the Toronto Raptors. He played just 19 games, averaged 1.5 points, and made history by voluntarily requesting to be sent down to the Raptors' 905 G League team. He became the first number 1 overall pick to ever play in the Development League. In the 2016 to 2017 season, his final NBA stop was with the Brooklyn Nets. He played 23 games, averaged 5 points before being waived in January of 2017. At age 23, an age where most NBA prospects are just entering their prime, some are getting drafted as we see right now with Yaxel Lindeborg, Anthony Bennett's NBA career was officially over. So when we step back and analyze the tragedy of Anthony Bennett's career, what was the actual root cause? Was he just lazy, or was he a victim of modern basketball evolution? The truth is a combination of 4 distinct factors. The 4 pillars of Bennett's collapse. The number 1 was the positional trap. He's too short for the 1990s 4, but he's too slow for the modern 3s. Number 2 was the medical sabotage. He had shoulder surgery, asthma, and severe sleep apnea. Number 3 is the number 1 draft curse. He got placed in an impossible media pressure cooker. And lastly, he had psychological adversity. He never learned to fight back when Code Red hit. In 2013, the league was in a weird positional transition. At 6'8", Bennett was undersized to play traditional power forward against guys like Zach Randolph, David West, or Pau Gasol, but he lacked the lateral foot quickness to guard modern perimeter wings like Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. He was caught between eras. Compounding his asthma and sleep apnea, the 4 months of bed rest after his shoulder surgery completely ruined his athletic foundation right before stepping into the most physical league on earth. And former teammates and trainers have openly noted that Bennett had never faced real athletic failure in his life. In high school and college, he rolled out of bed bigger, stronger, and more talented than everyone on the floor. When he hit the absolute wall of NBA-level adversity, he lacked the psychological tools, the anger, or the obsessive motor needed to fight his way out of the dark. After leaving the NBA, Anthony Bennett didn't give up on basketball. He suited up overseas. He won a EuroLeague championship with Fenerbahce in 2017. He represented Team Canada on the international stage. He kept playing the game he loved, far away from the toxic glare of American sports talk shows. Anthony Bennett is officially labeled the biggest bust in NBA history, but that label is a reflection of the Cleveland Cavaliers front office and a little bit on himself as well. His mentality wasn't 100% there, but it's not all on the young man himself. Bennett didn't draft himself number 1 overall. He wasn't even projected to go there. He didn't demand to be taken ahead of Victor Oladipo or Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was simply a young, talented 20-year-old prospect who got thrust into a spotlight he was never prepared for, plagued by injuries and crushed by expectations he never had asked to carry. The story of Anthony Bennett is a cautionary tale for modern sports culture. It reminds us that draft picks aren't numbers on a spreadsheet or trade assets in a video game. They are human beings whose success depends on health, environment, mental preparation, and timing. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know where you thought Anthony Bennett was going to get drafted. Do you consider Anthony Bennett the biggest bust ever, or do you just blame the Cleveland front office for taking him number 1 overall? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any more NBA videos that I post, because I post every single day and these videos take hours upon hours upon hours to produce. But other than that, that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate every single one of you for watching these videos and watching the channel.